Apple has reached an agreement for a sum varying $500 million to settle the Batterygate scandal. Therefore, people who had been using their older version of iPhones may be eligible for that money. Batterygate was a scandal in which Apple slowed down the phones intentionally. The people did not like that at all, and they sued Apple. Now, let's get to the bottom of what Batterygate is, so let's go for it. Apple is known for being a brand that can dare and make risky changes when it comes to their products, and this trait is very apparent in the iPhones. However, some of them, such as not supplying a headphone jack and not including a charger adapter in the package, frustrated some users. However, this phenomenon turned out to be a trend which was accepted by other companies, even copying it. Apple is not always glorified for their decisions, but they cannot be ignored either, seeing that they have made some brave ones. Take for instance the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus that were uncovered to be the ones which easily bent, making them inconvenient to use and frustrating the users. However, another Apple scandal is the Apple Batterygate. The iPhone update was a big deal because it influenced all iPhone users. In reality, Apple decided to reboot the software of some iPhones, which made the devices not use the battery as much. These phones may also be slower, but Apple has never talked about it with her customers. Such events became a big shock for these people, which made them think that Apple was intentionally degrading the performance. The Batterygate scandal resulted in lawsuits from iPhone users who sued Apple because of the company's secrecy that could congest the user experience. Nevertheless, the reported problem was a major stumbling block on the road to the company's reputation, and it served to show the importance of being open and communicative between the company and its customers. Since years ago, the court battles are over, and now the Apple Batterygate has been in the settlement stage. Compensation will be paid adequately to all the claimants, and let's get down to the nitty-gritty of this event. Here is the rundown of the Apple Batterygate controversy. What is the Apple Batterygate scandal all about? The Apple Batterygate scandal is one of those cases where Apple made the decision about how a device would perform when its battery is not in the top form anymore. Batteries have a lifespan, and the more you charge a battery, its chemistry degrades. Hence, it is advisable to use a power bank rather than a battery. Thus, the older models of iPhones were prone to dying quickly without any warning signs, and the battery level would decrease abruptly. To improve the performance of their smartphone lineup in the wake of the Batterygate scandal, Apple has introduced some software changes to make the older iPhones like the iPhone 6, 6S, SE, and 7 more efficient. It was a deliberate decision to slow down as their batteries deteriorated. Apple does this thing in order to keep the batteries working longer and to improve how the phones work, but people didn't like this. Thus, Apple amended it with a software update. Killed by the new iOS, the slowdown feature for older iPhones was eliminated. Now, if you replace your iPhone with a new battery, it will perform like it did when it was new. This transition would surely mitigate fears of Apple intentionally making its phones obsolete. As well as being a cost-effective solution, it allows users to have more control over their devices, making them last longer and improving user satisfaction. This move by Apple is proof they are listening to users, they are being clear about what they're doing, and they're doing everything to make their products more excellent. The facility indeed, Apple didn't make users or developers aware of it, and so, once the battery was damaged, many users were to blame, and they were all saying that their iPhone was slow due to unknown reasons. It made them in fact buy the newer model. This feature, which was later discovered, caused a lot of upheaval among iPhone users across the world, with some of them even suing Apple. The Apple Settlement. Victims of the Batterygate saga finally triumphed in the court of law after a series of legal fights. The case has been taken up by Mr. Mark C. Mulumphey, a lawyer from Cotchett, Petra and McCarty, the law firm that is representing the aggrieved customers and their class action suit against Apple. It was Mr. Mulumphey who added that Apple was ordered to pay a large lump sum, of which the amount varied between $300 and $500 million to over 3 million iPhone users who had filed their complaints before 2020. The compensation plan works in 3 tiers. To start with, the citizens are given $65 a piece. Further, in case someone makes multiple complaints, they get $90. These sums may seem small for each one of us, but you shouldn't underestimate the scale. Apple's capitalization is split up into 3 million papers, thus the money is distributed among a great number of people. This important decision not only proves that the iPhone users who were affected were right to complain, but also shows that big tech companies like Apple have to listen to their customers and be honest in their actions. Hence, even though the fight for justice is over, the amount claimed might not be as much as some people envisaged. Each person that is submitting a complaint will be awarded with money from Apple. The majority of the residents will get a check of about $65. If this happened, and if someone was claiming more than once, they could get up to $90. Despite the fact that the fines appear to be small in view of the fact that the legal procedure was drawn out, Apple has to divide the money among 3 million people. Therefore, when you view the amount as a share of participatory individuals in the lawsuit, it might not seem significant, but you will realize how much it adds up in the end. Not that people will receive cash compensation, which means that they will be paid back in real money for the Batterygate issue. Despite the legal process being tough, yet the outcome is a victory for the consumers who want the big tech companies to be responsible for the way their products behave and the issues related to transparency like these. In terms of Batterygate compensation, the question is, who is eligible for it? Moreover, the amount of compensation that is given to the plaintiffs who had filed their claims before the 2020 deadline will be the same in the Apple Batterygate Scandal Settlement. Besides, only the claimants who had these iPhones with iOS 10.2.1 or newer installed are qualified to receive the compensation. Same as for iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus users who are on iOS 11.2 operating system or newer versions. In order to be qualified for the settlement, claimants should have been using the phones with the software mentioned in this case after December 21st, 2017. Post the scandal, Apple started adding more information about the battery status in iPhones, showing the battery's health in real time. Apple also added the ability to turn off the performance throttling from the settings menu if users didn't want to compromise on performance despite using an older battery. The Batterygate scandal made people upset with Apple, but now Apple is trying to make it right by paying money to people who had old iPhones. This settlement shows that big companies need to be honest with their customers. Hopefully, this makes things better for everyone.